Hi, hello, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sydney if you're new here, and I just share all about books on my little corner of the internet, and I'm so excited that you have joined us. If you end up liking this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, maybe even leave a comment and tell me a little bit about yourself below, and we'll just go ahead and dive on into today's video. Today we are going to go through my physical TBR, all of the books that I currently own that I have not read yet. So this might take a little while, and I do have some books that are coming that I will honorably mention before the end. So, but we're going to start over here. I have a stack over here of the books that are intimidating that I want to get to this year. So we're just going to dive on in with those. The first one is the Bachman books by Stephen King. Stephen King has been a hit or miss author for me. Pretty much every time I've read a couple of his books. I read The Outsiders. I tried to read Never Flinch, wasn't a fan. The Mist was mid. I was like, that's a little pervy. Don't like that. But then I watched The Running Man, realized it was based off of a book, so I just went hang out the Bachman books because this is 3 different novellas in one. So I cannot wait to see what he does and compare it to the movie with The Running Man specifically. But I do want to try a few more Stephen King novels because one of my friends is like a massive fan of him and loves his books. I'm iffy, so I do want to give him a shot. Intimidating because I really did enjoy the Running Man movie, and also it's a little large, it's a little thick. So yeah, this is the first one that scares the bejesus out of me. Oops. You stumbled a little bit. Alright, so the next 2 books are by the same author, but they're different seasons in her Cosmere. So we have Samantha Shannon with The Bone Season. This one, for whatever reason, every time I look at it, it makes me nervous to read it. I think a mix of that is how large it is, but also the fact that the year 2059 is not actually that far away. It's only in 33 years. So we are well on our way there. But I've heard nothing but great things about her and this author. So I'm super excited to read The Bone Season at some point this year. So, y'all, some of these books, they're thick. How I'm going to read them all, not sure. Gonna figure it out. So we have The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. This one definitely intimidates me, but I cannot wait to dive in. Okay, the other book. I can do curls. Curl it, get a workout in. So we have The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. So this one, it intimidates me because it's tall and wide, long and thick. So yeah, but it does sound interesting. I've also heard fantastic things. This is one where I might like have to break the spine to be able to hold it to read it, because it is thick and tightly bound. It's not as floppy as some of the other books that I own, even though they're large. It like really holds its shape. So I really don't want to break the spine though, because the spine is gorgeous. So I'm gonna try to not do that. One of the perks, even though it is a larger one, is it does have fairly large font in this edition. So that gives me hope. But Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. This one is definitely on my list of books to read. It's on my physical TBR. And it's going to take me a hope and a prayer to get through this one in a timely fashion. Just saying. Okay, this one continues a series I finished at the end of last year. We have The Strength of the Few by James Islington. I like how the edges, like, they're not like the traditional sprayed edges, but they have like a gray tint to them. That's pretty cool. So I'm excited to see how this novel continues and how this world continues to build, in how James writes it, because he is a phenomenal writer. I absolutely love Will of the Many. So this one, it intimidates me a little bit because of its size, and it takes a lot of brain power from what I've heard to read it. But I'm optimistic that it will be another fantastic 4.5, 4.75 read, if not higher. So we are going to dive right back in. to the Hierarchy series with The Strength of the Few in 2026. Yeah. The next two books are from an author. One of them intimidates me not because of the size, but because of the Cosmere it tends to unlock. The other one intimidates me because of the size and the mental power it takes to get into it from what I've heard. So, you have Mistborn and The Way of Kings by Brando Sando. So, I'm super excited. I did try to listen to both of these last year. I think it was a mix of I wasn't in the right mindset. Like I was not in the mood for high epic fantasy. And I didn't like the narrator because I tried to listen to it. But I do like how floppy it is. So I hopefully won't have to break the spine to read it compared to The Priory of the Orange Tree. But lots of pages. The edition I have has colored pictures. Well, in the book it's like black and white pictures. But like in the back of it and in the front they are colored, which is super cool. So, super excited to dive into this world and see what all the hype is about. Same thing with Mistborn. This one is just because the Cosmere it unlocks is why it's a little bit intimidating. But one of the things that also terrifies me is Brandon is such a beloved author. Like, what if I don't like him? I really, really hope I like them. Just because I want to do the hype. I do have FOMO with these, and I'm not. And, you know, FOMO happens. If I don't like them, I don't like them. But I really want to like them. I really do. So, those are the books that intimidate me the most that are on my TBR. So, one of the ones that I physically own that's not over here is because it's my next queued up read. And that one is The Intruder by Frida McFadden. So, that one is on my physical TBR. I'm planning to finish the book that wouldn't burn today. And then I'm going to go ahead and dive into that one for a different video. But that one, super excited about. It seems super interesting, and it looks like it'll be a pretty quick read. So that one is definitely on my list. It is on my physical TBR as well. I'll just have it next to my bed for whenever I finish the book that wouldn't burn. Then there's a couple of others that are coming in that I will have this year that I've pre-ordered or that are just already on their way. So one of them is Sea of Charms by Sarah Beth Durst. It is the third in the Spell Shop series, which is, I think they're interconnected standalones. That one will be coming in July. I have The Thorn Queen, which is the second book for the Rose Bargain. That one should be coming in April. In March, I have The Book That Held Her Heart by Mark Lawrence. It's the third book in the Library trilogy. I also have ordered The Gates by John Connolly, because it's the first book in a series that I don't own, but I own the second book. Same thing for And That's Where He Kept Her, I think, or And There He Kept Her, by Joshua Morling, because I already have Where the Dead Sleep, but Where the Dead Sleep is the sequel to And There He Kept Her. So I have those coming in. I also have The Serpent Bride and The Twisted Citadel coming, because I ended up buying right here. I have The Infinity Gate, which is book 3. So those two are the first and the second book in this series. So I bought those. Those are also on their way. So those are the books I don't physically own that are coming, or that I don't physically have over here. So we'll go ahead and talk about The Infinity Gate a little bit, but this is one I have on my physical TBR. I don't know much about it. It's definitely like a magical, fantastical world. When was this one published? Because the other ones always came before it. This copyright 2010. I think it was like between 2007 and 2010 is when all three of them were published. So, a little bit of an older fantasy, which I'm excited about. To read some books that were popular when I was not reading, or this was not in the age demographic of books that I would pick up. So we have The Infinity Gate, which is the third in the Dark Glass Mountain series. So we'll dive into that, and I'm super excited. I'm just gonna start putting the books back on the shelf the way I got them. At least close to where I got them. Okay. So the next two books I have are The Deceiving and The Awaking. These are books 2 and 3 in a series that I started last year called The Unveiling. And it's like a sci-fi paranormal, like magical realism. Like it's in reality, but they have different powers. And so based on the powers that you get, you can do certain things. So that's kind of the premise of the unveiling. And they're really short books, which I really love, so I can get through these pretty quickly. And I'm excited to get back to it because the unveiling was a lot better than I expected it to be. It was fabulous. So definitely recommend that. She is a smaller author based out of St. Augustine, Florida, and I cannot wait to get back to these characters. Okay, and then this one was a book of the month book I got a couple months ago. It's The Second Chance Cinema by Theo Weiss. And this one just seems like it's going to be such a cute, like, second chance romance on the brink of divorce situation. So, they're not on the brink of divorce. An engaged couple discovers a magical movie theater that challenges what they know about themselves and each other in this captivating debut brimming with nostalgia and life-affirming wonder. So, can't wait to dive into that, where it's like, are they actually meant to be together? So, we'll get that one as well. I'm only going to pick out the first one of this set. So, we also have the Lord of the Rings series, so we're going to start with The Hobbit, and then we have, like, The Two Towers, Fellowship of the Ring, Return of the King, Children of Huron, and Unfinished Tales. So, we have all of those. I think there's one more I could get in this one that I don't have. But, we're also going to go through, see what the hype is around the Lord of the Rings and all that, because I have never read it. I tried to listen to The Hobbit last year, but the dude was so sing-songy, it was weird. I didn't like it. So, or at least the audiobook version that I read. But, like, I like this. Like, this is a cute little, like, pocket book. Like, I would put this in my little pocketbook and, like, in my purse, take it with me, and read. So, super excited to dive into all of these. They're little, and they're so cute. So, we have The Lord of the Rings on my physical TBR. Alright, we'll move down here. So, this one is The Busybody. It's based on, like, a ghostwriter and murder, basically, I think. And Alex Michaelides, who's a fantastic author, I love The Silent Patient, said that it's a delight from start to finish. If you like Agatha Christie, you'll love this. And I've heard nothing but amazing things about Agatha Christie. I do want to dive more into her books, especially because they're considered classics. And so I cannot wait to dive into this one as a thriller. I am definitely not a genre-specific reader. I am definitely more of a mood reader, where I'm willing to expand and go outside of, like, what I'm vibing. But, because I know if I, like, read too many thrillers or mysteries in a row, I'm just going to get burnt out on them. So I have to keep it up. That might be the ADHD talking. But we have The Busybody by Kimber Donovan, and I can't wait to read. All of these I can't wait to read. Like, why am I saying that all the time? But this one looks super interesting. I got this one, I think it was used. Yeah, it was a traded paperback at a local indie bookstore. So, it's in really great shape. So, this is on my list. The next three, it's a series. It is a Christian romance series. There are three of them. The first one, you start with Boundless, then you have Steadfast, and then you have Relentless. And if you've read the Bible, these are all adjectives that can be used to describe the Lord and his love for you. And I'm super excited. One of the goals I have this year is to get into more Christian fiction. And I saw these, and I got them, and I can't wait to read them. Especially because, like, I love a good cowboy romance, and there's, like, cowboy hats, and they're on a ranch, but they're also by the beach, and I just love that. So I can't wait to read this and get into more Christian literature. So, speaking of Christian literature, the next book we have is A Bond of Briars. I'm pretty sure this is an Esther retelling. But it looks so good. I've seen great things about it, and I cannot wait to dive into it. Yeah. This would be a Ruth retelling. And I'm all for it. I absolutely love that. So, it's got magic, and a mother-in-law, and something. It looks really cute. So, we'll read A Bond of Briars this year. This is on my physical TBR. Okay. Next one is a book I've kind of been avoiding. I don't know why, but I got a pretty edition. So, it's Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole. So, I got this one. I've heard amazing things about the Kindred Curse saga, and then I did look it up, and none of them have a high spice rating. They're all like closed door from what I've seen, and I love that. If that changes, I will immediately DNF, obviously. But yeah, and it's also cool. She's a Texas girl, but she currently lives with her husband in France. That's really fun. That is really fun. So, we will be diving into the Kindred Curse saga, and I have high expectations for this book. This is one of those where I probably should put it on my intimidated list because it's such a beloved novel that if I don't like it, I'm gonna be sad. So, but we will be diving into this one. When old secrets catch fire, everything will burn. So we have Spark of the Everflame. I have no idea what it's about, honestly. This one I would probably go into blind. Okay. And then I'm going to pull off all three of these because they're all thrillers. So we're going to talk about this one first. So we have Little Creeping Things by Chelsea Ichazo. She is a YA thriller author. I've read a few of her books. One of them I loved. A couple of them I was like, that's fine. That's okay. But this is supposed to be her debut, and it's supposed to be fantastic. So I've been trying to convince myself I'm not a killer. They'll never believe it now. So apparently that she was around a fire, and everyone thinks she is, or, you know, people think she is, and then her bully goes missing. So yeah, definitely a YA thriller, but I have been impressed with Chelsea's writing before, and yeah, so we're going to dive into this one at some point this year. This is just every book on my physical TBR currently. This does not mean I'm going to be reading it anytime soon. We will see when they come up. Okay, the next two are both Frida McFadden's. You have The Housemaid is Watching and The Tenant. So I've heard The Tenant gives housemaid vibes without being the housemaid. So I'm excited about that. One of my friends is a major thriller fan and absolutely raved about it. So I have high hopes going into The Tenant. And then The Housemaid is Watching. I've read the first two in the Housemaid series. I absolutely love this series. It's so good. I also watched the Housemaid movie. Obviously, I like the book better. I feel like the movie added too much graphic content that didn't need to be there. It was stupid. Did not need to be there at all. So, but I do love the series. So I'm going to keep going in and reading and finishing up the series. I do not have The Housemaid's Wedding, the novella that goes with it. Might get that at some point. Might not. It's, from what I've heard, it's one you could live without. But we will be reading The Housemaid is Watching. Okay. Then, so we'll call all of these. So, the next one up is To Bind Fire by D.E. Carlson. This is also another no spice fantasy that sounds super fun. So, Iris is a frightened girl thrust into a foreign world by her own terrible mistake. Basan is crown prince of the Fire Empire who would rather tinker than assume the throne. Both are fated to save the world. Iris knows little of her past and less of her heritage, but she knows fire. It whispers to her, leaping at her, urging, delighting her eyes. But then the fire takes everything from her, and she learns her bloodline's terrible secret. Her terrible secret. Because of her, the world is dying, but there is hope for them all if she can face her deepest fear. If she can master the fire. So, a powerful imposter, a land torn by war, their only hope, a child born in innocence, and Iris has killed him. So, this is also, I believe this is also a Christian fiction, or it's a retelling. I might be wrong on that, but we will dive into this and at some point and go with that. Okay, so we next have Scalebound by Logan Piercy. This one has been on my TBR forever. When was it published? Because I got it on opening day. It's also signed. Copyright 2024. So yeah, I've had it for almost 2 years. So it's just been staring at me on my shelf. And I need to go ahead and dive on in. So I will be reading this year. It's on my 26 and 26. So this one we will be reading. Cannot wait to dive into it. It's a super interesting YA fantasy concept that I have very, very high hopes for. So if I like this, I will then order Stellar Bound, which is the sequel to it. So this is another fantasy on my list. Okay. So these next 2 books are both non-fiction books. So in the different methods of picking my TBR, these will not be listed because those are only my fiction books. But these 2 I do plan to read this year. They are Christian non-fiction. One of them is How to Cast Out Demons by Isaiah Saldivar, Everything You Need to Know About Deliverance. I have been studying a lot more on deliverance and demonic and spiritual warfare things. And so I definitely want to dive into this one. I love watching Isaiah on YouTube, and he is rock solid. So I cannot wait to dive into this book that he wrote last year. And then this one, it's by Jenny Weaver, The Wicked World of Witchcraft, Exposing the Rise of Darkness. So I've also heard amazing things about this one and the hidden dangers in everyday thinking that involve witchcraft. So yeah, these 2 are books that are more for study purposes versus reading out of pleasure, but I've also heard they are very well written too. Alright, so we need to spin the shelf, which is hard to do on a carpet. Okay. The next 2 we have, these are classics. These are classic collections. So we have The Great Gatsby and Other Works by F. Scott Fitzgerald. This one is, because I do want to read more classics this year. So this one, we have This Side of Paradise, The Beautiful and Damned, and The Great Gatsby. So these are 3 of his books that I want to read this year. I also just love this edition. It is gorgeous. It has like a built-in bookmark with it. So we are going to explore the world of F. Scott Fitzgerald and the complete novels of Jane Austen. So this one should be intimidating because it is huge. It is massive. But we're going to roll with it because this includes Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice, Mansfield Park, Emma, Northanger Abbey, and Persuasion. So this one has 6 books in one. And it also has a fun little bookmark. So I do want to dive into these, reading more classics. So these are definitely on my list. These I also did not put on any how to like any TBR list because these I'm going to be very intentional of selecting and picking them up. Not just willy-nilly figuring it out. Okay. So we're gonna shimmy these on. Okay. Then we have, this is another book of the month book. We have the Book of Lost Hours. So this book sounds fantastic, and it's, you know, time travel and magical realism, and what would it be beneficial to actually change your past? So this one is definitely on like the top of my list because it sounds super interesting. I really hope it hits a lot harder than the Book of Lost Doors did, which is by a different author completely. That one I did not like. That one was alright. It was mid. This one I have really high hopes for. It sounds really, really good. So I can't wait to dive into it. I do have a few more Book of the Month books that are coming that would constitute a TBR as well. I have My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney, and I have The Anatomy of an Alibi by Ashley Elston. I absolutely loved Beautiful Ugly by Alice, and I absolutely love First Lie Wins by Ashley. So I have both of those coming. I also did add a physical copy of Before I Forget because I need a trophy of that one. So that one is also coming with them. But those are my Book of the Month boxes. My Book of the Month box has not yet come in, otherwise I would have shown them. So those are on the way. So next up we have one more shelf. one more shelf to go. So we have The Orphanage by the Lake and The Red Letter. I didn't realize it until someone told me that these are, this is like a series. So that you could read them separately, but it's a lot better if you read The Orphanage by the Lake and The Red Letter, because this one basically picks up exactly where this one left off. So we are going to read both of these. I've been super intrigued by The Red Letter since I bought it, and same thing with Orphanage by the Lake. So I have really, really high hopes, and hopefully they don't get destroyed with these. Okay, and then 2 more Book of the Month books. We have Best Offer Wins and Light Breakers. So this one is more of like a comedic thriller, and this one is more time travel, sci-fi, magical realism. 2 very different books, but they both sound very interesting, and I've heard nothing but rave reviews about them for a while. So I am super excited to dive on into them and see what they're all about, see what the hype is about. Okay, then we have another one. This is one that I DNF'd last year, but I think I just wasn't in the mood for it because one of my friends with very similar reading taste to me absolutely loved it. So this one is For the Wolf by Hannah Witten. It's the first in a duology. The second one is For the Throne, and that is about the sister of this female main character. So I love the like deckled edge on the side. Like I just think that's such a like cool like special effect for it. It makes it look like a much older book than it is, and like it just kind of like has something about it where like it just feels like an old book that you would find at like your grandma's house or on in your granddad's study or anything like that. So I'm gonna dive on into this one because it's basically the first daughter is for the throne, the second daughter is for the wolf. So it's like these are not spoilers. I know a little bit about it. I made it probably 60% of the way through last time when I tried it, but this one it says that like one of the things that they do is whenever there's a first daughter and a second daughter, the first one who is born is the one that rules and gets the throne, and the second one is basically a sacrifice to the wolf in the wood. So it's like a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and it was pretty good when I was reading it, and I cannot wait to dive back in. So give it another shot. One of the things that I've learned is there are some books you just need to hold on to and give them another chance. So I'm not going to be as quick to like get rid of books that I DNF for that I'm going to think it through first. So this is The Book That Broke the World. It is the second book to The Book That Wouldn't Burn, which is the one I'm currently reading. So it's a lot smaller, which makes me sad because I wish it was larger. But there's a third book that is coming out. So this one, it's literally just continuing the story that I am currently reading. Mark Lawrence, I love his prose. They're very it's very easy to understand most of the time, but it's also like lush and flowery. Like his prose is just delicious. I love it. So I cannot wait to dive into this one. Continue the series, stay with these characters, and just continue learning more about them. Like I want to just stay in this world for a while. So we definitely have this one that we'll have to hit soon. Okay. The next book is The Baking Games by Rachel Hannah. It looks like it's just a short little book, super fun. This girl goes on like Big Brother meets Great British Bake Off, where this girl is like sequestered in a house with a bunch of other pastry chefs on this baking competition because she needs the money, and then her ex is there, and so is her male rival from pastry school. So it's like a rom-com situation that I'm super excited to dive into. Should be a pretty quick read. The font is rather large, which I absolutely love. So this one might very well end up being a book that, even if it doesn't get chosen for a TBR one month, or specifically in March, that this one I just take with me to the beach, because this feels like it would be very much a springtime beach read when I go in March. So absolutely so stoked about this one. If you know anything about me, you know how much I love competition shows and how much I love baking and how much I love baking competition shows. So this one is right up my alley. So of course when I saw that there was a really good deal on it for a signed copy and everything, I had to. I just had to. So this one might be my new pride and joy. Okay. The next one we have is The Infernals by John Connolly. The first book in this series is called The Gates, and so that one I do have on its way. I think it might be out for delivery today, actually. So, did not realize that it was a series, but I'm excited about it. Like, it sounds really interesting, and I like the cover. This one I can tell was like obviously a library book at one point that got donated, and I'm okay with that. Like, you know, reduce, reuse, recycle. So this one we have, and it's in like I think it's called the Samuel Johnson. Yeah, the Samuel Johnson stories. It's for young adults, but you know, sometimes like I know at one point last year I like wrote off young adult completely and got rid of a lot of them, which is fine because a lot of them I needed to get rid of because they were no longer young adults that serve me. But I need to not be so like hard and fast because there are some young adults that are phenomenal and that I still would want to read. So this is one of them as well. This one is not young adult by any stretch of the imagination. That is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. So this one is like a guy basically wakes up in a lab and the life that he had known no longer exists. His wife doesn't exist. He's not married. He has his dream job. Now he has to decide if he wants to go back or not. So this one, I think it's also on Apple. There's a show or a movie on Apple TV. So I might have to get Apple TV Plus to watch it. Because if the book is good, I might have to go compare it to the show and do a video on it. But I'm excited about reading Dark Matter. I've heard amazing things by Blake Crouch. I also want to read Recursion. I thought about reading Pines, but I don't like spicy books, and especially the more you get into Pines, the more spice there is, and I don't want that. So I probably won't ever end up reading Pines, but I will read Dark Matter and Recursion. I tried Run, which is like a novella. Was not a fan. It was mid. It was alright. But Dark Matter sounds interesting. Okay. Then we have the 4 Engagement Rings of Sybil Rain. So this one seems like it's supposed to be like a really fun rom-com. And sometimes you just need like the fun, colorful, summery rom-com. So this one will likely end up being like a summer read, hopefully, or like when I'm craving summer type of read. So definitely plan to read it this year, like I am all of these books, which is great because my reading goal is 52, and I have 60 books on my TBR. So I should be able to get through a massive chunk. I am keeping track of how many books I buy each month compared to how many I read off of my physical TBR to hopefully overall keep the number that I buy smaller than the number that I read so that my total number goes down, if that makes sense. So this is what we are diving into. And apparently this author also wrote Mistakes We Never Made, which also could be. I might have to look into that if I enjoy this one. So, yeah, I am excited. I also like that I got it on sale at a used bookstore. It's supposed to be $29, and I got it for $8. Okay. This one, it's another Brandon Sanderson that I was gifted for Christmas. It is Trust of the Emerald Sea. It's supposed to be a YA fantasy by him. Reasonable size, fairly easy to read, I believe. So, I am ready to read this one as well. Dive on in. It's so pretty. One of my friends, I'm using the bookmark right now on the book that wouldn't burn just because I'm one of those that I'll pair my bookmark with my current book. And it'll just look so pretty when I'm reading this, like sticking out here because it's a little sun. And I cannot wait. This book is so good. I'm so excited to get into Brandon Sanderson's world and his mind. Okay, then we have The Barren Fields by Felicity Elaine. So this one is a Christian post-apocalyptic novel that I was watching one of Jolie's videos one time, and she was reading more Christian fiction, and she said that this was probably one of the best Christian fiction books she has ever read, and I cannot wait to see what that was about because I am too learning how to get into more Christian fiction and learning more about it. I also, like, large font for the win. I love that. Like, I'm not a fan of like the really tiny words. I have to like hold it up here to be able to read it. I like being able to hold it down here and still be able to see them because they're not the size of an ant. But anyways, I digress. I'm excited to get into this one. I have not read very many post-apocalyptic books. I've read like dystopians and things, but they're not really like, a lot of the ones I've read are not like like literally apocalyptic, where it's like zombies and things, but and like you have to wear gas masks and whatever. But this one seems interesting. I also really enjoy the cover, so this one is definitely high on my desire list. I really hope I end up getting this one for February. Okay, final book on the physical TBR is Where the Dead Sleep by Joshua Morleg. Morling? Morleg. What is it? Mulling. Joshua Mulling. And In There He Kept Her is the name of the first one. So this one I will read after In There He Kept Her, because obviously that one takes place first. So then I will jump into this one. I believe they're interconnected standalones, but I still like reading them in order, so I don't get spoilers for the other one. So I will read that one first and then dive into this one. Okay, so we are almost done. I did decide to tack on to the end of this video. I want to also share the books that I really want to reread. These are definitely on my reread list. So do really want to reread Air by Sabaa Tahir. I don't know when the next one's supposed to come out. It's a series. But I thoroughly enjoyed it the first time around. It is a YA, but it was very, very good. I want to reread it, get back into the world, take notes on it, and just like fully immerse myself. I don't remember as much about it as I would have liked. So definitely want to reread Air. If you haven't read it before, definitely recommend. Definitely a good time. The next one actually on the list is A Word So Fitly Spoken by T.A. Lawrence. I thoroughly enjoyed this one a lot more than I thought I would. Because, I don't know, it was so good. I listened to it, and I want to reread it and then get the next book. I haven't got the next book yet. So I think you have this one, and then I don't know what the other next book is. But I want to. And I want to reread it. So this was a phenomenal book. Do not sleep on the spice-free dark fantasies. They can be so good. This is no exception. 10 out of 10 recommend. Okay. And before the Throne Queen comes in April, I do want to reread The Rose Bargain. I really enjoyed it the first time I read it, and I want to read it again. So this one is highly on my list. I cannot wait. It was really good. I do want to reread this one. Followed by Dragon Rider by Taryn Matharu. This one was also really, really good. It's book one of a series. So I want to reread it because of the end of it last time. I was like, I don't know if I want to keep reading the series, but we will see. So I am going to reread this one to decide if I want to keep reading the series. So it was good. Don't get me wrong. Otherwise I wouldn't reread it if it wasn't. But I do want to give it another chance. Okay. We have a couple more. The next one is The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart. This one, it was also very good. I enjoyed it. I just want to reread it again because I don't remember as much about what happened as I would have liked. I remember I loved it in the ending, but I just want to reread it physically. That goes with my goal of physically rereading it. A lot of the books that I'm rereading are ones that I listened to that I really enjoyed, and I just want to get into it, see the words, turn the pages, annotate, all of those things. So followed by Blood Over Brighthaven. Y'all, I remember so much about this book. This is not one that I like. It slipped from my brain cavities. I want to reread it solely because I loved it so much. And I know exactly what's going to happen. But I need it back in my life. I want to be back in the world. Oh, I don't want it to be a standalone. Emma Wong, why? So, but along these lines, I also do want to read The Sword of Kaigen. I have not read that one yet. And that's also by this author. And this one was phenomenal. I've heard nothing but good things about The Sword of Kaigen as well. So I want to read more of Emma Wong's work. And then, the most devastating book I own. I still cry thinking about the ending. A Song to Drown Rivers. Perfect. 5 stars. Everyone needs to read it. It's short. It's fast. I love it This very well might be my favorite book I read out of 2025. Completely. I love it so much. I will never not talk about it. So I want to reread it. This one I'm going to have to mentally prepare myself to reread. Not gonna lie, but phenomenal. 10 out of 10 recommend. Everyone should read it at least once. So yeah, that is all I have for you. These are the rereads that I want to go into, and then this is my physical TBR. So that's a lot of books. That's a lot of reading. I better get going. Back to the books, y'all. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel, and let me know below what books are on your physical TBR like that you're the most excited about, and what rereads are you excited about. But also let me know what books are intimidating you. Like, just leave anything in below about the books that you currently have, and I'll see you next time.